Hello guys, when you look at this setup you notice one thing, and this was Chelsea's first game against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest in that 4-3-1-2 structure that they have played with recently, a structure that has really made it difficult for teams to break them down, especially through the middle. And in this structure we saw how they created a lot of problems for Chelsea, and Chelsea even found themselves in the back foot, sometimes having to defend crosses from Nottingham Forest. And this was a similar occurrence in yesterday's game. When you look at the statistics, you notice something, that it was close to a 50-50 possession-based statistic, but you notice that Chelsea denied Nottingham Forest any shot on target. And that was because of Chelsea's resolute defending and how they organized themselves whenever they did not have the ball. But one thing that fascinates me the most is the running that Chelsea had. Chelsea won their last 7 out of 8 games, only losing to Newcastle, a game where Chelsea received a red card. But overall, Chelsea put up a very brilliant run considering the number of teams that they were supposed to play, and some of those teams were very difficult fixtures, but Chelsea managed to do what was necessary to get a result. Now let's look at the running fixtures. One thing you notice is that some teams won and some teams lost. Manchester City won away at Fulham, and Liverpool drew with Crystal Palace, both of the FA Cup champions and the Premier League champions, and Villa and Newcastle both lost, but Chelsea did their job. Before we start our analysis, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Let's begin. First thing, before we start to analyze, we need to look at the lineups. One thing I am really proud of is that the lineup that we chose in this channel is actually the lineup that Maresca went with, and I said we needed the balance between attack and defense. And starting with Sancho over Lavia was key, but Maresca went ahead later on into the game and brought in Romeo Lavia for Jadon Sancho, which I had tipped. On the other hand, Nottingham Forest started with the lineup that we expected. Probably Murillo, I didn't expect him to start, but he started this game. The structure was also the same, so it was quite predictable how both teams were looking to try and get the best of each other, and that's actually what happened in this game. And let's look in the tactical board and understand what happened. Now, Chelsea tried to build from the back whenever they tried to face Newcastle, but the question is, was Chelsea's intention generally to build from the back? No. Chelsea's main intention was to draw Nottingham Forest players forward. Once they draw them forward, Chelsea were looking to have a situation where they can look to play the ball over the top, especially for the runs of players such as Neto, Noni Madueke and Jadon Sancho. In particular, it was Pedro Neto, but this did not succeed because Chelsea's Pedro Neto was not quite strong to win the ball off players such as Milenkovic and Murillo, who won the ball time and time again. Here, Chelsea are trying to build from the back. They have drawn in Nottingham Forest players who are trying to press them. Immediately they draw these players high up to try and press them. What you automatically notice is that now Chelsea are looking to go long and bypass that press. But when Chelsea decide to go long, they do not have the physicality that is required to actually win that aerial duel, and once they win that aerial duel, they can actually transition. Here again, you notice one thing, that Nottingham Forest were not afraid to use their fullback in a way where he would push up and look to win the ball off, especially wingers in these kinds of situations. With Nottingham Forest looking to have the ball being crossed in the far post area where Chris Wood will try to go 1v1 with Tosin. Lucky for Chelsea, especially in the first 15 minutes, is that Tosin was able to win those aerial duels and maintain Chelsea in the game, something that was so important for Chelsea. Another thing that we noticed in this game tactically is the way Nottingham Forest reverted into a mid block. Remember, I told you Forest might try to start earlier on being so aggressive, but later on they will just drop into that mid block, in that allowing Chelsea to move into that 3-5 structure. But this time Maresca decided to start Palmer down the left and Enzo Fernandez down the right, because he had inverted his fullbacks. In that case, that is a right-sided fullback on the left and the vice versa on the right, and Cucurella was the one who was inverting in midfield, as you can see here. Looking at this clip, you can see Rhys James, Tosin Drabayo and Colwill at the back, and you can see Marc Cucurella in that deeper midfield position alongside Moises Caicedo. Cucurella's role in this midfield position was very interesting in that he acted as a double pivot next to Caicedo, allowing Fernandes to play higher up, as you can see Fernandes' position in between the centre-back and the full-back while Noni holding the touchline. Now, this created overloads for Chelsea in the wide areas, but one thing in particular is how Nottingham Forest set themselves up. Forest wanted not to allow Chelsea's wide centre-backs to carry the ball forward, and therefore Tosin Adrabayo in particular always had the opportunity to carry the ball forward in that midfield position, and time again he played the ball to Noni Madueke. As you can see here, you can see the position of Elanga and Chris Wood. Chris Wood is automatically sprinting forward to deny Reece James the opportunity to carry the ball forward, and Elanga is looking at Colwill. Now in this situation, both of them can be nullified, but in this case Reece James plays the ball onto Noni Madueke, and you can see the position of Enzo Fernandez is putting the Nottingham Forest defense quite in an awkward position because of that overload. But the main aim in this situation was to try and cut out the movement of the two wide centre-backs, and that is why I was so proud with Tosin Adrabayo, because he was able to receive the ball, progress the ball, and actually play the ball in areas where Chelsea could look to hurt the opponent. And him also being in this position also allowed him to even up numbers in midfield, sometimes going long to Noni finding himself in a position where he can pass the ball to Fernandes, and Fernandes finding himself in a position where he can try and at least try to cross the ball. Another thing that we noticed in this game is how Chelsea were looking to try and press Nottingham Forest and even suffocate them. We started to see even Reece James inverting in midfield alongside Cucurella, and this was when Chris Wood was the only player who was deployed as a forward. Chelsea wanted to even up numbers because Nottingham Forest, with their diamond structure, automatically outnumbered Chelsea in that midfield. But having Reece James also inverting in that midfield, that created problems, because as you can see here, the problems started to aggravate themselves. We also started to see Cole Palmer dropping so deep to receive the ball in a deeper position to try and drag out markers, and we started to see how aggressive the man-oriented press by Nuno Espirito Santo was so strong, because now we started to see even Dominguez following Cole Palmer. But Palmer in particular had that one thing that they would combine with Jadon Sancho, and Sancho sometimes will have himself in an isolated position where he would look to slip in the ball, especially for the runs of Marc Cucurella, who was making runs from midfield into the left half space position to create Forest problems for Nottingham Forest even more. Another thing that really fascinated me about the tactics of this game is the positioning of Nottingham Forest when they decided to move into a deeper block in the second half. Chelsea decided to move into something like a pseudo back 4 or a back 2, with now Reece James looking to move higher up the pitch more aggressively, and this made Noni Madueke to stay high up, while Reece James will be able to receive this ball and immediately look to play passes in behind for Chelsea. And Reece James occupying this wide position also meant that Chris Wood now would focus on the central position, drawing a midfielder out and creating that space for Fernandes to receive the ball. Because when Reece James is in this position, then he plays the ball onto Noni Madueke and nothing happens. Reece James is able to join and create that triangle that Maresca likes to create, especially in the wide areas, that actually make Chelsea to dominate those areas of the pitch and actually create chances in that game. But Chelsea were not just looking to try and dominate possession. Chelsea's main aim was to remain compact. If they can't win, let them not lose the game. And one thing that Chelsea were trying to do is to press Nottingham Forest aggressively, but Forest's plan was clearly seen in the earlier stages of the game. Chelsea here are applying pressure, man-oriented pressure against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest in this position were looking to play the ball to Chris Wood, who would drift towards the left side where he would encounter Reece James. Reece James sometimes will win the ball off Elanga, and once he won the ball off Elanga, and even sometimes when Chris Wood will win it off him, we started to see even Tosin Adrabayo now dropping deep to win that aerial duel against Chris Wood, with Reece James looking to cover him. And this placed Chelsea in a very good position, because once Chelsea won the ball inside Nottingham Forest's half, then Chelsea now would resume their build-up and control that game, because the aerial duel battle was really one key area of contest in this game. When Chelsea did not have possession in this game, in some times of the game, we started to see Nottingham Forest push both of their fullbacks high up, considering they were positioning their two strikers in those half space position, but Elanga would drift out wide to try and link up with the right winger. Nico Williams would join the left to try and link up with the left-sided midfielder, while Chris Wood will move towards the center. The main aim was to try and whip in crosses in the heart of Chelsea's defense, so that Chris Wood would have a goal. And in the initial phases of the game, Nottingham Forest were quite in that trajectory, and Chris Wood managed to have two chances actually being balls being played over the bar, and his feet were not quite the best. But what you notice is that Chelsea, though were sitting in this 4-4-2, sometimes they would win the ball and immediately look to transition, and this would create more problems for Nottingham Forest. Another thing we started to see was the substitution of Sancho in the 60th minute and the introduction of Lavia, and Chelsea moving into a 4-5-1 structure. A structure which would suit them, especially once they went 1-0 up, with Lavia coming in and sitting deeper, allowing Enzo and Caicedo being the one to spring out, and Caicedo in particular the ability to spring out, win those balls, win those duels, and create problems. And even sometimes Caicedo would win the ball in very good positions, play the ball forward, but Chelsea's counter-attacking game was not the best. Now looking at this, you can see Chelsea did not even finish 5th. Chelsea finished 4th, which was a target for Chelsea this season. 4th, and the Conference League is a good target. Maybe the club would have wanted a domestic trophy, but a trophy and top 4 was good. Chelsea was one of the teams that was ruled out for even finishing in the top 4. And this raises questions about banditry, and that's why I saved the best part for the last. And I have some very few clips here and some things that I have to talk about. Like, let's just hear what Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville said here.
That we've had chasing Champions League places on the final days, 3 teams. This season we have got 5, Forest among them, who in 7th place have already got 65 points. That is also a Premier League record. Do you see them giving Chelsea a tough day?
They'll give Chelsea a tough day. I mean, they'll give 100%. Look, I'm not sure Chelsea are going to go there and win. I'll be really honest with you. I do feel it depends what Old Trafford's like on Sunday. It could be euphoric or it could be a difficult atmosphere depending on what happens on Wednesday night. I think if Villa win, they'll get into the Champions League because I think Forest will take points off Chelsea.
Well, my next question is going to be what kind of Manchester United Aston Villa are going to be facing on Sunday?
If I knew that, Dave, then...
What does your hunch tell you?
I mean, look, if that trophy parade's on, it'll be euphoric in the sense of winning a trophy, you know, bringing the Europa League back. However, if they weren't to win, I mean, Old Trafford on Sunday will be a very difficult place.
I think what he's asking you is, do you think they will win?
I think United will win on Wednesday night, which makes it, I think, a little bit tougher for Villa on Sunday. But if Villa can win at Old Trafford, I do think they'll get into the Champions League.
Do you think those fixtures look awkward for Manchester City, Jamie?
Yeah. It's not easy. I mean, on the back of playing a cup final, Bournemouth didn't play at the weekend. Wembley's a big pitch, takes it out of you, you've lost. Got to lift yourself again. Bournemouth's not the type of team you want to, in terms of pressing and being
Now is 1 o'clock, 20th of May 2025.
I think Chelsea and Nottingham Forest might both miss out. I can see that being a draw at the weekend. I don't see Chelsea going there. I think the atmosphere there would be absolutely electric. Nottingham Forest deserve that. I'm not sure Chelsea have got the character and personality to go there and win.
So Villa and City go in?
I think Villa and City will go in.
If I was predicting here now, Villa and City go in, I agree with him. I think that Chelsea...
One thing I liked about Enzo Maresca is that he never forgot what they had to say. He reminded them, and he said it without flinching. And he swore in that video. And I'm going to show you a video of Maresca's response to this, which I was really glad to hear what he said.
I said that the doubt was from outside. All the ones that they have the answer, or all the ones that they have the truth, They were saying that we are too young, we are not good enough. They were waiting for Villa drop points in case we want to achieve Champions League, and they were saying that we were not able to win in this pitch because too young, because not experienced, and unfortunately for them, they have been all wrong. All the ones, you know, that they have the truth and they have the answer for everything. So in English, I would say F off to all of them, because the player, they deserve that. And the way they have, I said many times, the effort they have doing has been fantastic.
I am really pleased that Chelsea did not even get the 5th position. They got the 4th position, because the 5th position, they can say probably Chelsea were donated that position. You know, the way the media is so toxic, they can say Chelsea, they wouldn't even have been in the Champions League. It's just that Chelsea, the England got the 5th position. Chelsea got the 4th position. Out of all those teams they tipped to turn up, Chelsea was the only team that turned up. We won 1-0 at a difficult ground where Liverpool, Manchester City and Arsenal haven't won, but they will still tell you that, oh, Chelsea did not play well, the game was boring, because they want to discredit Chelsea. They don't want to accept the achievement that Chelsea have made. And you can see it in ESPN, you can see it in Sky Sports. The punditry is so pathetic. You don't get people who are neutral, people who are objective, people like Jamie Carragher who have very deep resentment for Chelsea, just having time to speak about how Chelsea are this, how Chelsea are that. You have Stevie Nicol in ESPN saying this, and you really get annoyed that instead of just being balanced with your punditry, instead of leaning in, can't you give credit where it's due? Can't you just give credit where it's due? Chelsea players were young. They knew that if they didn't win this game, they wouldn't be in the Champions League. They came to one of the toughest grounds and they did it. But you still find some people finding a way to discredit them, finding a way to belittle them. And I was so happy with Maresca's press conference. It's high time you stood up to bullies and you told them to their face. And some of them are even talking like this and they have never won a Premier League. So I'm really, really proud of Chelsea. I'm really proud of the performance. I'm really proud of whatever they did. I'll be doing my season review. I will do a live stream on the season review, and I will do a live stream on what we expect in the Conference League. Leave your comments in the comment section area below, and if you want to reach out to me, kindly check my socials, please, and they are in the description area. And reach out to me on Instagram and we can see if probably we can arrange a show or something. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video. Bye.